Seguimos en LTE Latinoamérica 2016 haciendo la cobertura de los vídeos con algunas de las empresas que están participando en el congreso. Nos visita una empresa que quizá no conozcan, se llama Sona Networks, nos visita John y con él vamos a estar hablando sobre qué ofrece la empresa porque tiene una solución de gestión del tráfico en redes móviles para el RAN que es bastante interesante. Vamos a entender un poquito mejor qué es lo que ofrecen. John, welcome to telesemana.com.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Pleasure having you. So, okay, you mentioned before we went on camera that you had a solution which is very specific to handle traffic on the RAN for mobile operators.
Right.
So tell us how you do that.
Yes, well when you look at the traffic on the RAN, when you look at a single cell and you look down, down at the level of a cell and you look in time windows of just a few seconds, you can see huge peaks and valleys. The traffic has spikes and then valleys and followed by more spikes and valleys. And that traffic is constantly fluctuating. And then the capacity in the RAN fluctuates as well. So as people move their UE, their user equipment moves around within the cell, the capacity changes as well. So those two factors work together and you end up where packets can back up in the RAN, the latency rises, packets are lost, and then the user experiences, if they're watching a video, they'll experience a stall, the browsing is delayed, the social media is very slow. So what we do is we have our Smart Air that is software that sits on an appliance in the RAN. It's actually between the RAN and the core.
Okay.
And it sits
on the backhaul?
Yeah, exactly, the transport. And it's on the S1 interface in LTE or the IUPS interface.
So this is just for 3G. LTE or also for 3G?
No, for 3G as well.
Okay.
IUPS or S1.
Okay.
And we're in line and we can actually see the traffic. And we generally manage in one of the appliances perhaps 1,000 cell sites. And we'll look and we'll first map the users to figure out which cell sector they're in. We then classify the traffic, even if it's encrypted. We can figure out what type of traffic it is. Then we can detect in real time the congestion of the cell. And if there's no congestion, we don't do anything. The traffic just flows through. If there is congestion, we have a queue for every flow and for every user in every cell.
Okay.
And we, when the traffic starts to back up in the RAN, we hold the packets in our queues and then we engage in traffic management. And what we do is when there are those big peaks, we manage the peaks so that they don't contribute to the high latency. And what we're able to do is give much better video, browsing, and social media experiences.
Now, when you mean that you have to put an appliance on the network, so for example, if you have a carrier with 10,000 base stations, you have to go and put 10,000 appliances on the network?
No, it's roughly one appliance for every 1,000 base stations.
Okay.
So for 10,000 base stations, you probably have between 10 and 20 of these appliances.
Okay.
So it's very manageable. We're as centralized as you can be and still have a view of all the traffic and all the cells.
Okay. Does your system require the operator to actually handle something, or once you're setting it up, everything is automated and the network does its thing on its own and the operator doesn't have to just...
The operator doesn't have to do anything. We have a set of application signatures that are periodically updated every few months. And in addition, we collect some really terrific metadata. So we collect insight about what's going on in the network. So the operators...
More big data.
Yeah, operator is able to see, for example, which cells in the network are contributing the most to poor experiences. So they can actually rank their cells, like which cells are causing the most video stalls in the network during the course of a day or a week, during the busy hour or all the time. So we can figure that out with our insight capability.
Okay, so just as a practical terms, your solution is correcting as the network progresses, or does your system actually tries to project before it happens so it can adjust before the peaks appear?
So it's in real time.
Okay.
But we do actually have a bit of a look ahead, because as the packets start to, when there is congestion, we hold the packets in our queues. So that means we know what is about to come to that cell, because we can see what's in our queues for that cell. So we have a little bit of a look ahead when there's congestion to figure out what's happening. But it's very important to respond in real time. These congestion can happen in moments. So you can go from a cell that is perfectly fine to a cell that is quite congested in the space of half a second.
Okay. Also, off camera, you mentioned that you recently released, I don't know if this is an application, but something that is actually to improve the video quality of the mobile experience, or when somebody is accessing a video.
Yes. So in addition to our traffic management, part of our traffic management also, we can determine the best sustainable rate for that UE in that cell.
Okay.
And this best sustainable rate,
with the same appliance that you put
yes,
before.
it's just a feature.
Okay.
And so we can now, from looking at the recent history, last 10 seconds, for that UE and for that cell, as well as that look ahead I talked about, we can determine that a UE, for example, we believe it'll be able to sustain, say, 1 megabit video for the next period of time. So instead of the video bursting up to 2 megabits, and then the client gets fooled and thinks it can run at 2 megabits, then it tries to start getting 2 megabit video, which is going to then stall, and then after some period of time it's going to have to back off and slow down to a lower rate. So we determine that best sustainable rate, and we can shape at that rate. But in addition, we have the ability to create or enable a relationship between the mobile operator and the content provider. So we can now communicate in the GET request, where the user on their phone indicates, I want to watch this playful cat video. So it sends that request over to whether it's Facebook or YouTube or Akamai server or whatever. It'll send it over to that content provider, and we can embed that recommended rate, that sustainable rate, in that message, and that allows the content provider to immediately go to that bit rate. Okay. So that avoids stalls that may occur at the beginning of a flow. We also update it when there's a handover. So when there's a handover, the conditions can change instantly. So we'll update that rate immediately, that allows the content provider to adjust very quickly.
Okay, now when you say that, obviously you are connecting the operator with the OTT.
Yes.
Right? So you are kind of somebody who's connecting these two competitors, so to speak.
Yeah, historically, operators viewed, and I think this was because of technology, viewed video as a little bit of an enemy, that it was hostile to the network. And Vasona really believes that video is such an important part of all the traffic, and it's a very immersive experience for the customer. They get a lot of enjoyment out of the video, and they notice very quickly when the quality is poor. So you want to have, this enables a good relationship where you treat the video, you can control the video, but you treat it as friendly. You're able to make recommendations to the content provider so that there will be fewer interruptions and a better experience for the end user. And that means better advertising for the content provider and a happier end user for both the content provider and the operator.
Now, do the operator and the OTT have to sit down on a table to negotiate any sort of connection thing? So, you can
So there is a communication. This is being standardized, this kind of embedding of this message. But the content provider has to be able to honor, detect that message and honor it. Okay. But in terms of the business relationship, it's up to the operator and the content provider whether they want to try to charge for it or just have a friendly relationship.
Okay. And what is your impression when you see this, or you're talking to the OTTs and you're talking to the operators? Are they open to talk to each other and make sure?
So we have announced an evaluation of this technology, and it's in a commercially operating network. So the end users had no idea they were guinea pigs, as we say,
Okay.
test subjects. But we, with a large anonymous content provider, we over a few weeks did over 100,000 video sessions using this technology, and we were able to reduce the stall time by over 20%.
Okay.
So it's a very beneficial capability for those end users, and of course when there's less stall time, the users tend to watch more and have more of a repeat experience. When your video stalls, you're less likely to watch the next video.
Excellent.
So.
All right. Well, John, thank you so much. Hopefully people will get an idea of what Vasora is offering, and they can visit your website. And
Thank you. Latin America is a big focus for Vasona, and we're happy to be here in Rio.
Excellent. Good.
Thanks.
Thank you.